here's where we are. Last video left off, I just kind of welded these, the top frame rails and extended the lower frame rails, you can see there. Now, I've got the engine back in, and I've actually got it suspended from the top frame rail. Now what I can actually do, this is kind of an extreme scenario. Because something I always have to keep in mind is there's an accessory gearbox that mounts to the bottom here, and it drops down probably another 6 inches or so, and that's got the oil pump on one side, the fuel pump on the other side, and then of course all mounted off of that is going to be the fuel control system, which extends to right about where the flow divider for the fuel to go up into the spray nozzles. So I got to keep in mind that I'm missing that component for right now. But when I go to finish this frame, I've got to keep in mind I got to keep myself some room for that. So here's what I'm thinking. Grab my handy dandy tape measure. Right now. So the things to keep in mind up here is we still have a starter that gets mounted to the front face here. That starter is about 11 inches. So we'll still clear the front frame rails here, and I'll have room to attach an intake screen to keep FOD out of the intake as much as possible. So I'm looking at, let's see, working with one hand here. So we're looking at the engine mounts are going to be about 14 inches from that frame rail. And then the original idea I had was just weld in like a 90-degree bend, and it comes straight back down, ties into this frame rail. And then maybe in like that gusset, make a gusset for the engine mounts. But I think I'm going to switch gears here. Adam fabricated me these really nice engine mounts. And then I already had these little weldable tabs. All I had to do was just open the hole up a little bit, but I think they're half-inch weldable tabs if anybody's interested in these things. Yeah, half-inch bolt. Those are some weird measurements. Like, who measures in sevenths and ninths? But anyway, they'll work for what I need. They're let's see. I want to say they're maybe try to get a good measurement here. A little smaller than a quarter. 2, 3/16 maybe. But anyway, so anyway, back on track here. Once we'll have these, and then I'm gonna have a bushing. I'll fabricate a bushing to go in between here, and then this weldable tab will sit on top of a 1 1/4 inch tube that's gonna run from this frame rail. It's gonna just come straight back until I get to probably the first stage nozzle here. Now this is where I need to mount the aft end of the engine. Needs support back here, because the problem is that I'm going to have an exhaust coming out each side over there and over here. So there's nothing really in the lines of putting an engine mount back here. I'm thinking right here, this flange. So I'm going to have a 1 1/4 tube from the top frame rail down to the bottom frame rail. and it looks like it's probably going to have a bend in it. It's not going to be a straight down, or it's going to interfere. I could be wrong, but because the engine I can still move, but uh, I can bend a piece of tube if I need, and then I can weld a flange or bracket onto that tube, and a removable bracket that mounts to like these bolt holes here. That'll take care of the aft part of the engine. These big suckers will take care of the front of the engine here. And it looks like I've got plenty of clearance down here for all my oil lines, fuel lines. This side will be, you got the gearbox, fuel pump, and then all of this will be fuel control module. But keeping the frame like that, and then I can do, keeping myself some space here, but I could do from this tube that comes across a support straight down, and then I could probably do, well, this is going to go straight up and down, maybe one at a diagonal, but I got the idea from Bill's quad, the Jet Quad Lightning. I was looking at that the other day when I was down there, and just looking at how the frame was made on that four-wheeler, kind of sets me up the same kind of situation here. It's just a straight tube, goes all the way back, and then an engine support there, engine support here. So that's where we are. This little guy here, before anyone starts asking too many questions, of course, this is where the original frame, right, it's behind here, but that's where that met up with this, and that's where I cut it. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to just get like a 1/4 inch steel plate to stretch across both of these, and possibly up under the frames here, and then I'll weld around all of these and attach it to the front rails. That'll give me a little more support and relieve some of the stress off of these welds back here. Also, next thing on the list, we're so close to getting this to a rolling chassis is what they call them. I've already made the bushing that fits in here. I just got to get a tire, and then maybe for now I'll put the stock springs on, but I'm thinking the stock springs, once it gets exposed to all that heat, the seals will blow out, so I'm actually going to have to fabricate just a piece of tubing, and I'm going to have to just make a strut for each side, like a solid strut. Kind of like if you look at the V-Rod destroyers, they use a same kind of thing. It's just a strut, solid, just a piece of tubing, and then that's where they mount their wheelie bars onto, because it was originally designed to be a drag bike. But having solid struts will make that exponentially stronger. And I need a front wheel, tires, brakes. That'll take care of the front, and then I got to weld in some tie like ladder bars like that one there. I'll probably have one back here, and then maybe put one just in front of the engine so I don't interfere with that accessory casing in the fuel control module here. It's like the first time I've notched a tube in 15 years. That thing came out perfect. And then the frame is just about done. This vertical support here is actually going to be, I can disconnect that. So I can undo all these bolts, undo those bolts, and then I can undo the disconnect that'll be welded in here. And then you can actually pick the whole bike up off the engine, and the engine will stay in the lower cradle.